Hello, today it is Move It or Lose It with just me, your host, Kathy Chester. Today it's been a minute. I have been wanting to do this podcast solo, and I this is going to be a tough one, but I felt like it was absolutely necessary that I did this one with no video because I didn't want to start crying in the middle of this and have you all see my tears. And so I wanted to get through this one that I think is important for several reasons. So here we go. I took some time off from a lot of my activities before the holidays started this past year or this past holiday season. I was having a lot of issues in my marriage and decided that I needed to take some space to try to breathe, to try to listen to my therapist, and to just try to calm things down, try to figure out what was going on, making sure that my medications were okay, that my body would kind of settle down. I felt like it was really um, giving me a harder time during the time that my husband and I were struggling more and more as each week went on. Obviously, this didn't start during the holidays. This has been going on for quite some time. The holidays, let me back up. I would say about the last year has been really difficult. The last 6 months have been extremely difficult. Why am I telling you this? You're not going to know everything, but I am sharing a little bit with you. I started to back out of some things so that I would have more time to be able to breathe and, like I said, make sure that my body had some time to just not be so overloaded that I would end up not being able to do anything. As you know, the podcast is called Move It or Lose It. And so my ability to move is very important to me. I was struggling with some seizures at the time. I was struggling with the MS and the rheumatoid all at the same time, fighting to become number one in my body. So I just did not want to let any of them win. My husband had moved to another area of the house to sleep. We were just not seeing eye to eye on anything. Christmas Day, December 27th, I was presented with divorce papers. And so that was very, very difficult and very sad. It was a shock to me. I had no way of knowing, I had no heads up that he was filing for divorce. I have definitely seen him very angry, definitely seen him not wanting to be near me for a long time. And it has been a big, big heartbreak for myself and my family to see what has happened. So, um, as I am healing and putting parts of my life back together in a very short time, as most of you who listen to my podcast have one or two or three autoimmune diseases, you understand the difficulty of being really shocked by something and then figuring out how to put those pieces back without very much there. A huge loss of income when someone leaves and that person is your insurance and that person is your caregiver. It led me to think through the last few weeks of some things that, as I work with different patients and clients that have different autoimmune diseases, I thought about things that we all go through, but fears that we have. And I thought about how often my husband and I have only been married since 2019. I thought about how many times we have gone to the doctors and I've given him all access because when I'm in, I'm all in. I gave all access to him to all my information, all of my health information. And often they would say to him things like, none of this will sound new to you guys. Say things like, example, my medication for my epilepsy. She's going to be on this new medication. Make sure that you're watching for any changes. This can change her mood. This can change a lot of things. It could make her more irritable. It can make her more depressed. It can make her anxious. So, as the patient, your significant other, who may be your caregiver, that person has everything. You're putting your trust in that person, that they love you enough, that they're going to be looking for that for you, not using it against you. So I really want not this podcast just to be about me and my hurt feelings, but so many of us put all we have into our caregiver or our significant other. And my heart isn't to tell you not to do that, but to make sure that you really do have that love and that trust in that relationship. Because boy, oh boy, have I been burned. And was that information used against me? I was put in the hospital on a suicide watch, and 2 ribs of mine were broken. And it was a pretty bad fight. And I was terrified. My brother was on speakerphone with me as I went to the hospital. Nothing seemed right. Nothing felt right. Why wasn't I being treated? Why wasn't I getting an x-ray right away? Why was I being treated like I had done something terribly wrong? Well, I understood that when things had happened and it didn't go exactly how you would think it should go when someone is injured and the police come and you have to go to the hospital and maybe an ambulance comes and takes you. Well, unfortunately, in our country, we still have issues where the woman is not always treated the right way. And that just happened to be my situation. And thank God for my brother. And thank God that he did not let up. And for friends and different family members that came to my rescue and got me out of there, because I think he would have had me in there for quite some time. So, my gratefulness for getting out of there, I could not express more. The embarrassment, the humiliation, um, the inconsideration of those people in there when my ribs were broke and yet nobody seemed to care. It was a horrifying situation that in a blink of an eye, someone who's sick and leaning on, giving all their trust to a caregiver, that something so terrifying can happen. So, saying that, I just want all of us to be cautious, I guess would be the right word, of what information we're giving out. I wanted to also we'll talk later about much more of this when it comes to narcissism and when it comes to patients being in care of someone who is abusive. And I know that this happens much more often than it's being talked about. I can tell you that I am so tough, and my kids would say I'm the toughest mom they've ever known. But I never saw this coming. Never did I see any person breaking a rib for me, breaking a rib, doing anything. I always felt that I could get through anything. I never saw this coming. And I would guess that many, many women and men who go through something like this, where they are the person that has maybe cancer or MS or rheumatoid or epilepsy or Crohn's or any of these autoimmune diseases, um, would never desire to be in a situation that they are taken advantage of or abused. But oftentimes we are in need of help. And I think to so many of the clients that I have and patients that are in wheelchairs, and I'm not, and literally can't do anything without that caregiver. And even with the independence I have, I was still extremely manipulated. And still, I see this over and over again. And this is something that I know when I heal from the wounds physically and heal emotionally, I want to tackle this truly because there are so many patients that live like this day after day after day, being abused physically, mentally, verbally. I think that the challenge comes, and I can only speak for myself as a woman because I am one. Oftentimes, as a single mom and having one of these diseases, having MS, I know growing up for me and my brother, it was a very dysfunctional home, abusive, alcoholism. I knew that kind of dysfunction. I knew narcissism in that way. And that's all that I really understood narcissism to be. I didn't know there were so many other fun narcissistic behaviors. There's charmers, and boy, that is a dangerous one. I think that we need to be cautious. Things can sound really great. I know for me, the charming aspect of the narcissist that I didn't see or understand. Some of the warning signs I understand now. The person that wants to come right in to your life, to really just want to jump in, over interested in you or your children, is the red flag. Quick to make you and your children their entire world. There were red flags, but I didn't listen. Lots of compliments constantly in the beginning coming up to you. Nothing you do is wrong. You're a great mom. How would they even know that? But there's this overdone complimentary thing that happens in the beginning. You're amazing. You're a great mom. You're a great person. Everybody must just love you, and all of that stuff to really build you up, only to be knocked down soon. But it is a lot of this charming situation that happens in narcissism. You'll begin to see little cracks soon, but that is the beginning of it. Telling you, oh my gosh, I can't believe that anyone would hurt you. If you had gone through a divorce, I would never do that to you. I would cherish you all the days of my life. You're so beautiful and kind, and I could never hurt you. Aren't these the words that all of us want to hear and know, especially if we have any issues like an autoimmune disease or something that has really taken us down and we don't feel that great? Imagine those words coming in and some person wanting to care for us and thinking so many wonderful things about us when we may not feel so great. So, that is one thing we need to be cautious of. We need to be conscientious of those grand actions that come with a charming personality. Are they grand things that are coming that they can really do? I know with those grand actions that would come, I noticed they came more often when other people were around, especially when they were my friends. Bottles of champagne would be coming that there was no money for. There were grandiose things that would happen. Crazy making conversations. There would be traveling. Let's travel. Let's go somewhere. There was no money, but you don't know that in the beginning. There are things that you find out later, and it could be very destructive. Thankfully, I am here and not more damage was done. But my goodness, am I in a world of hurt financially and now needing an attorney as I've been trying to help and put bandages on to try to save this. And Now I'm going through divorce. Now he has a wonderful attorney, and I have no attorney and no home in 30 days and left with nothing. And this is a decision that was made. And it is incredibly hurtful and terrifying and scary. And so far, I've not cried, but it is something that I truly, truly believe with all my heart that will be something that God uses to help others as I go through this and as I tell my story. I think that it'll be something that will minister to others. I think that, or I believe with all my heart, that I'm called to do this because if anyone knows me, you know specific things about me. You know that I love God with all my heart and soul. You know that I love people and I love to hear people's life stories. You know that I love family. You know that I adore children. You know how grateful I am to have the career that I have, to be with each person that has any kind of autoimmune disease, that I can watch and help move their body to take one step or lift a foot or do something incredible that they haven't done before, to stand in the shower. I cry every time I get those stories. I love what I do. I'm grateful for what I had that I know so many don't. On Christmas Day, my son drove me to my brother and my sister in law's, where I was able to be with a loving family that were able to allow me time to have peace, cry, and just heal. And there's a lot more of that. There's a lot that I will have to get through, a lot of things that are scary, but it has helped me so much to be in this community and to be able to share. And I'm not, well, I will never share all of this stuff with you. All it is private for just my family and myself. But to share the things that I can that will help others is always my heart. I don't know how this will all turn out, but I do know this. He did not give me this gift that I share with you. He did not give me the gift to train. He did not make me who I am. He did not make my gym. He did not make MS Disrupted. I did all of those things, and I will not quit. I will not stop. So I need a sabbatical, and I've taken that, and slowly I'm moving back in. I have taken my format and changed it a bit. I am moving my program that I'm loving, I'm so excited about, and we are starting it in March because why not? March is our month. It is our MS month. So that is when it will begin. And I look forward to seeing so many faces in there. But for now, it is a time of moving through this, and I will keep you posted. And I love all of you so much for your support and your concern through this times, the amount of messages and phone calls and text messages. I love you guys, and I thank you so much for your support and all of the subscribers I've had and continue to have in this podcast. It will not go anywhere. I will always be the move it or lose it queen, and this podcast will only soar. So stay with me and we will get there. And thank you for giving me this time to heal. I love you guys, and I am here, and we'll get through this together as we journey together on this crazy ride of these autoimmune diseases. Thank you, and God bless you.